Hello, welcome to today's video. Today we're doing a sketch with me, which is the first one for this channel, and I'm really excited because it's something I've wanted to do for a while. We're starting with the Sapphic sketch with me, as I've dubbed it, because we're just drawing some of my favourite Sapphic ships. And I must put the emphasis on some, because there was no way I was going to fit all of them in this video, because let's just say I have a lot, and even like my initial list was like quadruple the amount I was going to be able to draw. And every time I was like coming to a decision on what to start with, I just kept thinking of them all. It was very fun. I ended up drawing 6 of them, and we've got my 2 current absolute faves, which are like more recent discoveries, and they're a lot more aligned with my very personal taste in women. But the rest of the ships are more, because most of the time they're pretty equal across the board. Like, I just adore all of the ships in this video. And so I ended up choosing ones that are a bit lesser known, still well known most of the time, I'm pretty sure, but like ones that aren't quite as famous as like Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy, if you get what I'm saying. And I am planning on drawing those 2 at some point, don't get me wrong. I was planning to have them as like the 7th in this video, but by the time I got to the 2nd page, I just couldn't. But because I didn't end up drawing them all, I definitely want to do something like this again. Please let me know if that's something you'd like, or if you'd like an Achillean version, and any ships you'd like for either one of those. The reason I didn't end up drawing as many as I initially expected was because I had way too high expectations of myself, what I was going to be able to achieve. I wanted really polished sketches, which I'm capable of, I can do quite regularly, but usually when I do a polished sketch, it's like 1, and that's done for the day. Like, that's it. Whereas this time, again, I wanted to do a whole double page spread with, which I don't do that. When I'm drawing polished sketches, like I said, when I'm done, when I'm drawing like more like doodles, I can probably fill a double page spread, but I don't know, I haven't been very good at sticking to sketching lately. Very close to finishing this sketchbook though, which I'm so excited because it's been 2 years. For who I'm actually drawing, this is Nyra, Camille, and Dendro from the webcomic Muted on Webtoon by Miranda Mundt. I am so sorry for my name pronunciations. I do not know how to pronounce them properly. I've heard Miranda say Camille more like Camille. The basic premise is Camille, now 21, has to follow in the footsteps of her family heritage and perform a demon summoning ritual. It's about witches, by the way, I should have started with that. So, but during the performing of this ritual, something goes wrong. And that's like a very general starting point of the series, but I don't know, it's only like, I say only 3 seasons. There's a lot of content, but like it's a very well-tied story, and I don't think I can emphasize enough how much I loved it. There are themes of family trauma and abuse, and a lot of like self-discovery and that sort of thing. There's trigger warnings in the episodes, which is something I really love about Webtoon, because that's something that's really important, and I am sick of people saying it's not. It is. But I definitely recommend giving it a chance, because the story is beautifully told and definitely respectful in the way it carries its themes. But yes, I thought I should just put that out there for what it deals with, because I know some people would like to avoid that sort of thing. I do love these three's dynamic. They're just so beautifully loving and caring over each other, protective, like, their dynamic is just gorgeous. I'm sorry, I know I'm repeating words at this point, but the way they treat each other is just, oh my gosh. And I feel like the way the relationship really grows throughout the series is just really magical. And yes, that was a pun. I also really enjoyed actually drawing Nyra and Dendro for the first time, because I've drawn Camille before. It's been a long time though, and I've never drawn the other 2, and I love their designs, so it was like really nice to actually do that. I will mention I didn't do it in this clip, but I do add Dendro's markings before the next clip, so don't worry, I didn't forget. But I don't know, it's so sweet. And I definitely think there should be more poly ships in media. Because, I don't know, they're also excellent. The other one that I absolutely adore is Castlevania. So, you know, I feel like most people love those three. So yeah, if you haven't checked out Muted, definitely have a little look into it because, I don't know, the author works with their wife to write another series called Lovebot, which you also might like. I love that series. Also themes of abuse as well, so be cautious going into it. But yeah, moving on, Vi and Caitlyn from Arcane are the next ship, which are definitely one of the ships that are top 2 for me. They're equally the best 2 ships that I kind of love above all. At the moment, yes, a lot of it has to do with the fact that I have a massive crush on Vi. But don't get me wrong, I love Caitlyn. She's also an amazing character. This show does really well at just general character development and like really putting so much into like the individuality and the life of them, because like even the way they walk, even their expressions are unique to each character, you know? What I really love about these two as a ship is the enemies to lovers aspect, which, you know, rather than a lot of people like to call it, it's more to do with political alignment. Caitlyn's grown up very privileged in the city of Piltover, whereas Vi's been a part of the neglected community in Zon, and Caitlyn's grown up to be a cop. Don't hold that against her though. She's slowly learning about like the corruption and the way things are, and that's kind of her position in the story. And Vi is kind of the one opening her eyes. And look, I'm a sucker for all those types of stories, not gonna lie. And their dynamic is very fun. Like, they're plenty soft. The way they listen to each other and respect each other is really nice. Which seems like that would be a very basic expectation, but I don't know. But I don't know, they kind of push each other a lot. Caitlyn's quick to frustration and exasperation, I would say. Maybe not frustration, definitely more exasperation. And Vi tends to click a lot of buttons, but they're very soft on each other. It's very cute. I definitely want to do more fan art. I've drawn these two before, in case you didn't know. I drew them at the beginning of the year in a digital piece, which I think I've improved a lot since then already, thankfully. But I do like how it came out, so feel free to check that out if you like these two as well. And like I said, I'm definitely drawing these two again. I love them so much. I decided to go with this particular pose because, I don't know, it seemed pretty in character. I wanted Caitlyn kind of looking over documents and figuring stuff out. And initially I had Vi annoying her, but as I was drawing Vi, it just didn't end up that way. It's kind of just her looking over her shoulder and helping. And now I'm kind of taking it as like a, oh my gosh, domestic bliss, preparing for work for the day, which is also kind of half based on the game, which is where a lot of the people that ship these two kind of have ended up. But, you know, by that I mean, of course, the fact that going with half of the lore from the show and like the rest from the game, because, you know, they're the same characters, although they feel very different. I definitely think this sketch is my favorite across the whole double page spread. I really like how it came out. I did make Caitlyn very angular, which is how she's like drawn, animated in the show. But I think I pushed it a little bit much some ways, but I kind of still love how it came out. Vi, I just like her cute little face and her hair. I really struggled when I drew them at first. Caitlyn kind of came easy the first time, but since then it's been a bit having a hard time. Whereas Vi took like so many sketches for it to look alright. I must admit, I was having a hard time drawing her for a long time, and I am glad to say, like, I'm actually happy with how pretty much every sketch since the first one I was like, oh yes, this is how. Since then they've all been going like, well. Also, I do want to mention, I have considered turning these into stickers because these two especially these two sketches look a bit like stickers, like it would be pretty easy to format, and I thought it would be really cute. Let me know if that's something you'd like. I do have a Redbubble shop, link in the description below if you know, like my art. And that's probably where it would go, although I do plan on opening an online shop either later this year or early next year. I've decided to prioritize the comic before the shop, which is probably a bad idea, but you know, I want to have it done, you know, I want to start working on a new comic, and this one's supposed to be like short and sweet. So I keep talking about it, it's been years of planning. So I'm just gonna do it. Also, I really gotta say, I just love drawing hair. I feel like this is just distracting myself at this point, but I love drawing hair, and I love how it comes out in these drawings, especially Vi's. I've already said that, but I love it. Speaking of ships I've drawn before, next up we're doing Elina and Nori, which I have literally just posted a speed paint of me drawing them. But I knew I was planning on working on this, and I knew I was going to draw them again really soon, so I was like, I'm in the mood to draw them, so I'm gonna draw them, you know? And I feel like this one is where you can see me start to get tired. I've already been drawing for a while by this point. I've been taking a break after each sketch, and I've got 6 to get through, you know? One thing I think I especially struggled with this one was that the pose was very out of my comfort zone. I don't think I've mentioned it already. I have had to record this audio a few times, which, you know, at this point I don't know what I've talked about. Sorry if I do end up repeating myself. But prior to this year, it wasn't, I didn't draw ship art very often. So I have drawn it before, but because I always struggle coming up with the poses or like making the head the same size, I just always had a hard time actually drawing ship art, which means I tended to avoid it. Which, you know, means I'm not getting the practice in, but eventually, like, I've slowly built up being able to draw them more often. So I'm getting there, I'd say. Obviously, the more often you draw a certain, pretty much anything, the better you're gonna get, and the more creative you'll get, I think, with how you can approach things. Like, I've had poses come to me easier, for sure, even though, like, sitting down, I struggle with it so much. And I guess you could say it's a version to PDA. I don't like drawing kissing, as much. I don't know, I find it, I'm just like, oh, you know, I feel like I'm intruding. Also, it's embarrassing and difficult, like, it's so hard to draw. I have drawn characters kissing before, but, like, it's like, you know, and so most of my ship art tends to be, like, pretty, hand-holdy or, like, something different. Also, sorry, I'm just now realizing that the end of each audio clip I do ends up getting cut off, so like a word will be halfway through. I'm so sorry. I'm really struggling trying to fix stuff on this app. Anyway, but back to the point. I struggle to find like creative poses because my brain always tends to go to, oh my gosh, they're holding hands or sleeping on each other's shoulder, and that's literally all I draw for ship art. So I was sitting here planning this video, like, how am I gonna, like, what am I gonna draw? And eventually, like, ideas came to me, which I'm really happy about. The creativity got there in the end, is what I'm getting at. And by creativity, I mean, like, I know a lot of these poses are basic, but I mean, like, ideas coming to you. I guess that's not really what creativity means, but you get what I mean, I hope. So then, you know, having those different poses that I've never tried before, it's hard to, like, learn on the go. I think it's the best way to learn, like, to slowly just attempt to draw it and figure out what you don't know. I think usually the best way to learn how to draw something for me is to attempt without any references. See how that goes for me. Figure out what I actually don't know, what works and what's different. Find a reference. Figure that out, draw again, and find the other things I don't know. Because usually when you draw something, like, you slowly learn something each time, and the first time you draw something, there's, like, usually something glaringly obvious, but eventually you realize there's even more stuff that you didn't quite see the first time because you were so focused on the blaringly obvious that you can't really see the whole reference and everything you can take from it straight away. Like, it's hard. I don't know. I've been learning this a lot more recently because, I don't know, I don't use references as often as I should because it's so much effort to like find them and learn, and most of the time I just want to draw like something silly. I just want to draw for the sake of drawing. And I won't necessarily always go look for a reference afterwards. I do have a very basic understanding of anatomy. Like, it's not very good, not gonna lie. But there's still like a lot I've been able to learn from observation and references every now and then. And in the meantime, kind of just figuring it out as I go along. You can see with Nori's shoulder, that's kind of a bit of that. It's, I don't know, kind of figuring it out as you go along. Anyway, this has been yet another tangent. I fear this video is just going to be nothing but tangent. This is where I'm going to mention, I'm actually really sick with a cold at the moment. You can probably tell from my voice. And my brain's not in its best shape. So I'm sorry, at my rambling. Though I won't deny I do tend to ramble on a normal video when I'm at perfect health. So there is that too. I will take this opportunity to say that yes, if you were worried, this is not the last time you'll see these two either. Yeah, I have just drawn them twice in a row and I do plan on drawing them again. I'm not sure how soon though, because again, I've just drawn them twice in a row and it takes me forever to get back to stuff apparently. I'm really hoping that like doing more sketch with me is, because I think it's probably going to become what most of my videos will end up being at some point. I do hope that doing more of that will allow me an opportunity to get back to stuff more often, because I take so long with digital art to get around to doing stuff. And, you know, it's just unrealistic. I'll get back to everything I want to get back to pretty soon. Anyway, moving on to the next ship is Katarina and Maria from My Next Life as a Villainess. It's an anime, it's a light novel, it's a manga with spin-offs and all of that. And I don't know, it's really fun. For the premise of this one, it's a bit more complicated than the previous premise I gave, so bear with me. Basically, this main character is playing an anime game or a dating sim, and she gets, you know, hit by a truck on the way to school. It's basic isekai stuff, right? And she shows up in the world of the anime game. So she's the villainess, and she knows that when the story starts, of the game starts, when she turns 15 and goes to the Magic Academy, that she faces exile or death by the end of that year, as her character in the game gets in the way of the protagonist of the game's love, affection, because it's a dating sim, right? But she's got, what, 7 years to prepare? I'm not gonna bother with the max. Yeah, 7 years. And so in the meantime, she's trying to prepare for exile, she's trying to prepare to avoid death. She already has a reputation for being a spoilt, entitled little princess, but not enough so that, like, most nobility has actually met her yet. And as they do, all of the protagonists of the anime game, love interests and love rivals, fall in love with this villainous character. And it's very amusing. Not only that, but by the time she actually meets the protagonist, it doesn't take the protagonist long to fall in love with her either. And I don't know, I really enjoy it. It's very dorky, and when I went into watching the show, I wasn't expecting a bisexual, like, lead, and I was so excited immediately, because I was like, oh my gosh, Sapphic media came out of nowhere, what? Which is my favourite way to discover it, because when you're not expecting it, it's even better. You're just like, oh my gosh. And I love these two. Like, I feel like there's a lot of ways to enjoy the show. Someone who just doesn't care if she's going to end up with just one person or everyone, or, you know, I don't know where the story's going to go, if they're actually going to try for the ending where she's poly and in love with all of them, or if they're going to pick a person who she wins. But I do know if she's going to end up with one person, I want it to be Maria. And I don't know, I just really enjoy their dynamic. They're so sweet and cute. and protective of each other. And Katarina is completely oblivious to everything. Did I mention that before? She doesn't know anyone's in love with her. She still thinks she's under threat of exile or death, and she's constantly preparing for it, which I think is very cute. I will say, I've recently read volume 6 of the light novel. The anime's nowhere near that far, but there is a bit of transphobia. It introduces a character who is supposed to be a trans woman, but the story doesn't handle it well. And they constantly have characters make fun of her, or it's just really not conscious at all. And I'm not sure if the author is going for, like, just making fun of them, or if they want to do, like, a character development arc with these, like, characters learning from it. I don't know. But I really hope so, because I haven't continued on the series yet. There's currently 11 volumes, and I can only hope for the best. But I did want to caution any readers that might be interested in checking it out. That is something that happens. But other than that, it's really enjoyable, really fun, and yeah, bit of a dorky little series. I really enjoy it. Next ship is Carmen and Julia from Carmen Sandiego, which is one of my favorite shows of recent years. I feel like it didn't reach its potential though. It felt like it got cancelled way too early. And it wasn't even cancelled, it's like it's supposed to be finished. But it just, both story-wise and the way they announced it, it just didn't make sense. Yeah, I don't know, I definitely feel like there was a lot going on around that. But who's to know for sure? All I know is that Carmen and Julia are one of my favourite ships of all time. This is the other ship that ranks up there as top 2. And I don't know, I just care about them so much. They're a more mature relationship, I would say. They're both adults, although you could say both of their ages are called into question at times from the inconsistent timeline. But from what I know, they're both like 20s. And yeah, I don't know, their relationship's just so sweet and they respect each other. But Carmen's a thief, stealing stuff to give back later because she knows about this organization. And Julia is an investigator assigned to like capture her, but she's the only one that ever kind of understands what Carmen's going for, you know? And the way they respect each other, and I don't know, all of their moments in the last couple of seasons are just, oh man, they really get to me. And I don't know, I feel like they're canon, which they're not, in case you didn't know. It had a really ambiguous ending in terms of like ships, which, you know, fair enough. The ships aren't the most important thing. It was a good story. There's a lot I could say about the ending though. I didn't like those last 2 episodes. But while they were ambiguous, the way they were affectionate towards each other in the whole show, there's no denying they were definitely both interested in each other. And I don't know, I recommend the show if you're willing to put up with an ambiguous ending. And again, they're my favorite ship. I feel like that's all I can really say. This next one is a lesbian classic, if you will. Or it's Sapphic classic, because one of them is bi. It is Liana and Alexa from the Diamond Castle. And if you dare deny that they are a classic ship, just don't even attempt. Come on, they're the original cottagecore Sapphics. And I love them. They're married, they're on a flower farm. Are they actually married in the movie? Well, they have matching necklaces that they pick out of a river, so I don't know, you tell me. Sorry, I know, I'm dorking about, but I love these two. They're so cute and pretty, I don't know, I would say they don't have much of personality, but it's one of the older Barbie films, and it's very nostalgic, it's very lovely, pretty obvious about it too. I feel like watching it, I don't think there is any like actual way to deny it. The Sapphic love that's there. Anyway, if you haven't seen Diamond Castle and you're a Barbie fan, I will say it's not the most amazing plot. Like, there are definitely better Barbie films, but I can't let go of the way that it stands itself out as being the gayest amongst very gay films. Like, again, Mermaidia is on here, which, okay, you can come at me. It's, to be fair, any film with Barbie and her rival is very, very gay. And I gave examples in the last video. Mermaidia, Mermaid Tale 2 specifically, and Life Fairy Secret. Sorry, I keep thinking of Life is a Fairy Tale. I've been listening it too often. But this is the only that I can think of off the top of my head. I haven't thought too hard yet. Barbie film where it's pretty, like, obviously gay, or at least there's gay vibes the whole time. And they're not rivals. They're just married. I'm going with that again. They're an old married couple that happily runs a flower farm. I love them. And I drew Alexa playing Liana guitar because I thought that was really cute. And I want to visit this concept again because I think I could do a better shot digitally where I can like edit things, move them around. I don't know. So I might come back to that in the future. I also did end up coming up with another idea for them. I feel like they just lend themselves to a lot of really cute art. And I did say in the last video that I would probably draw digital art of them soon. Like make a little Barbie series. And by Barbie series I mean just a playlist of me drawing Barbie. Please let me know below if you also love any of these ships and if you've seen or read all of this content, I guess? I don't know. Do you know who all these characters are? I'm curious if anyone hangs in literally all the same circles I do. But otherwise, please again let me know if you want to see another sketch with me like this. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. I'm always going to be drawing Sapphic ships and nostalgic fan art, and I hope you have a lovely day, a happy week, and an excellent month, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!